Hello everyone, and welcome to my first ever build guide for the Hierophant. This build guide will be almost entirely about the Syphon systems, which is when your allies and yourself gain energy shield for you, and as you gain energy shield, you explode, and the damage you deal is equivalent to your energy shield. So, and it also is affected by critical hits. So you're basically just scaling energy shield, health, and critical hits, and resistances and stuff. The other two things I use is devote to the cause. Using offensive prayer gives devotion, so I can spam devotion more often. I don't really care about the damage bonus because it doesn't help. And we also use the Eternal Warrior after taking lethal damage, just so that I can, if I die, I can resurrect at least once. We'll also take 25 points into Purity, at least 20 points in Judgment for the 0.3% retinue damage bonus for each remaining point of devotion. And we only want 10 Serenity for the plus 10 shield for retinue members per devotion spent. Otherwise, that's just this screen. That's your the skills. The main skill is to get 25 in Purity for the 5% extra bonus HP per retinue slot. Next we'll look at the passives. As you can see, we don't really take many trees at all. The main tree you're wanting to start with is probably something like Retinue Tactics, and you definitely want this one right here. No. Whatever. So you want to take the majority of this except these two and these two, because I never use cover, so this doesn't bother me, and I never use Bulwark of the Orders, so this doesn't bother me either. Blessings are the same. I don't use Ethereal Form, so I won't be doing that. And I don't really care too much about gaining more devotion over time, so that's why I don't really go for these two either. Utility, I just take the right hand sides. Yeah, you could take more on this. It will help a little bit, but I just take the right hand side because I use a sword. Critical hits, we take almost everything except suppression damage on critical hits, and critical hit chance goes up depending on if you're more damaged. I prefer to not be more I prefer my suppression to be almost maxed at all times, so this doesn't bother me. There's ways you can get around having suppression at all times, and this doesn't matter too much. Usually they're dead or they're not. And if you can deal suppression damage other ways. Well, we take suppression as well. We take almost everything in suppression except these three. This could be useful, the plus 2% critical hit chance when suppression status is protected. I would say if your crit hit chance is below max, I should probably be taking myself. If your crit hit chance is below 60%, I would take it. But right now I don't really mind too much. One in every 2.5 hits is a crit anyway. And the rest is just as your suppression is in protected status, you gain defenses, you don't get any dot damage taken, and yeah. Heat damage we take because the actual damage I do cause is all heat damage personally. You could go for physical attacks if you want to do physical damage, but we do heat damage. And the last points go into health and defense. Take everything in defense that you can. We could probably take this. This would probably be better for this build. I don't really care about covers, even from them. I don't care about cover, and plus 2% damage reduction is so minor I don't really bother too much. See, even this wouldn't matter because it would be less than 1% to deflect. Deflect is also very nice. Health, again, take almost everything so you can increase your health drastically. I try not to use inoculars very much, so this doesn't matter. Suppression damage reduction when again, we are almost always at max suppression, so this doesn't matter either. And we're almost always at max suppression, so having suppression status at overwhelmed. If you're having your suppression status at overwhelmed, you're just going to die in it. That is the skill points, or the passive points there. I hope that helps. Again, this is my first ever build guide, and I don't plan on it being stupidly good. Morality wise, we take the purity path. I skipped the game and I took purity. Inventory wise, first of all, we'll go through the Samcode doctrines. We have the Samcode doctrine that grants 12% of damage is gained as HP, so it's 12% life and shield drain. It also gives us an extra 10% shield drain, so we have 22% shield drain and 12% life drain. Very, very, very strong, and probably the most important thing for this build. The second most important thing for this build would be the aura. Create a damaging aura, dealing 100% heat damage per second. This almost guarantees that you're always on 100% suppression, because you'll have suppression gained on hit somewhere. You'll see once I get to there, but we will have a plus 10% shield suppression gained on hit. And here it is. Plus 20 suppression gained on hit. If you have this and this aura, you're never going to run out of suppression. We also take the Samcode doctrine of plus 70% heat damage bonus. Affects retinue members. We take that twice. 3 times. And then the last time we just try to cover our resistances by adding in resistance things. So that is our Samcode doctrines. 3 times heat damage bonus, 1 heat damage aura, and the 12% shield damage, shield drain and life drain. Otherwise, the last thing here would just be to fill up whatever you're lacking. If your resistances were perfectly fine without the plus 8%, I could easily remove that now. I would suggest going for crit hit chance. So if you go over here, you go for the crit hit chance one, and then I would probably add that in. But I don't think there is one, and it doesn't matter. Or you would do crit hit strength. You would add 2 of these instead, rather than the resistances. On top of that, we'll go through our items. I think the most important item, one of the most important items you can get, is the +1 in rage. I also didn't get level 100 for all my weapons. There wasn't much reason for me to do that, so I decided not to do that. I would say one of the most important things is the +1 in rage token on critical hit. I thoroughly enjoy that, and if you can also get berserk tokens on killing spree, that's also very nice, but only on lower difficulties. The higher difficulty you go, the less killing sprees you'll get. Otherwise, this is just a defensive item. You're pretty much always wanting to try and make sure this gives you as many defensive blockers as possible. As you can see, we've got a lot of deflect chance here, we've got a lot of resistances, and that heat vuln on heat damage is also very nice since we do heat damage. This is also heat damage. Next we have This can be replaced easily. I don't know what with yet. I haven't really found anything to replace it. But again, crit hit chance, crit hit strength. Bonus loot quality is nice. And I would say replace the damage bonus with HP and the AoE skills with something to do with resistances. Again, to remove extra things. This is my favourite out of all of them, the main implant of Wrath, mainly for that plus 10% HP and plus 10 maximum enraged tokens. You cannot get 5 points, 5 nodes on this Wrath. However, plus 10% HP is absolutely insane. Plus 4 judgment is very nice as well, mainly so that the retinue members can also get more critical hit chance. Next we have the Purity Seal. This is something that I'm still trying to replace, or I was trying to replace. I'm not doing it anymore. I think the build is good enough as is. We're doing plus 10s fairly easily. Anything above plus 10 is whatever. I don't think there's any point in really doing anything above plus 10. Yeah. Resistances cause burning on heat skill damage. We do heat skill on everything. Shock on hit, very nice. And supreme damage reduction whenever we're surrounded. Again, resistances and burning on skill hit. This is going to be replaced. The only reason I have this is plus 4 for the plus 4 serenity and the movement speed. This is rubbish otherwise. This is an amazing piece of gear. Grants immunity to all dot effects. Absolutely insane. On top of that, we go for damage reduction, HP, deflect chance, and the last thing would also be something like base HP. So plus 100 or 200 HP. And then you'd also get something else on top of that. This one, we got double not passive points, skill points, attribute points. Very strong. Plus 8 attribute points is insane. The first thing is whatever. Damage reduction to suppression while energy shield is active. We almost always have an energy shield. The most important thing here is, again, more HP. Every item you can have HP on, that's what you're wanting, because you want the most amount of HP points as possible. Right now we're doing 22,000 damage per explosion, and we explode quite a lot. Next we have HP gained on critical hit. Very good. I would replace that if I could. But again, the most important thing here is critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and critical hit strength, and HP. Next we have the staff. Again, critical hit chance, critical hit strength, blind on hit is insane, and more damage to blinded enemies. That doesn't matter, but a blind on hit is great, and critical hit chance and critical hit strength are the two most important things when it comes to your weapons. The signums, again, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. Anything to do with crits is what you're wanting. Again, you can't do crits with the explosions that you'll be having. And again, the other signum is also critical hit chance and critical hit damage. Otherwise, reflect, you're wanting reflect chance, because that will reflect the damage back to the enemies. As you can see here, we're as tanky as we can be, almost. These two could be maxed a little bit more, but I could do, again, plus 10s without any problem here. We have plus 20%, we have 37% shield drain, 12%, life drain, 19%, movement speed. Our allies are whatever. I'm not really too bothered about the allies. The skills we are using are the burst of power, just so that when I'm not doing much and have spare spare points, I just channel this and deal heat damage to the enemy. The heat damages will burn the enemy and cause vulnerability. Bolt of Destruction is just an incredible amount of damage in a very short period of time. We do not scale physical hits, but that doesn't matter. And Blessing of Holy Fire is again just a nice AoE that will cause damage to everything around it, and heal allies within that area as well. When it comes to our allies, I went for a pure melee build, except for you, because you are a psyker. I would say just go for whatever makes you feel the best. You could specialize them all into heat damage, you could split them between heat damage and physical damage. It is entirely up to you. I went for the most speed I could do. So Thunderhammer I took because he can jump into battle. Power Sword I took, again, can jump into battle. And I took the Seraphim Armor, so you can jump into battle again. Also Assault Armor, so you can jump into battle. And this is a very nice ability here, the Temporal Distortion Field, because everything around inside of that area gets slowed down, including bullets. And this is also the same type of thing. Very, very nice. I went very heavily into the fire damage with you, and then I tried to make sure that you could help scale my allies. Yeah, I don't see what else I need to talk about here. I tried to focus you on damage to single enemies, because that is probably one of the things that I do the worst, is single enemy damage. I can do AoE damage incredibly well, and I can clear maps stupidly fast, but once I face a boss, that is when I start to struggle. Otherwise, yeah, that is this build. I don't know what else to say. I really enjoyed this build, and you can decide how you play. I'm sure there's ways that you could make this build better. I'm definitely sure you can make this build better, but I am happy with how it is. It can do +10s with no trouble, and if I really tried, I could probably do +15s with some trouble. And I'm sure you could make this build even stronger if you wanted to do +20s and above. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I hope this all helped, and I'll see you all later. Have fun, people, and bye bye.